he objectively won the night. Republicans are saying it. Fox News is saying it. Yeah. And as I predicted, he melted down within the first few minutes.
You sure did.
She laid traps for him, and he flopped right into them. Yeah. On the issue he should have been strongest on, border security, he ended up talking about his rallies and how they're actually great and nobody leaves. And I want to say this. If this was a traditional Republican president or traditional presidential cycle, you had Mitt Romney against Kamala Harris, I'd be saying, listen, she should have talked more about why she was for defund the police and isn't now, why she was for Medicare for all and isn't now. But nothing about this is traditional. These are some of the things he said. Yes, migrants are eating animals. He defended the January 6 rioters. He praised Viktor Orban. He wouldn't say that Ukraine should win the war against Russia. Yeah. And the best of all, he was asked if he has a health care plan after being president for 4 years, out of office before, and he said, I have concepts of a plan. That's what you say when you have nothing prepared.
He's been trying to fix that for 10 years.
I hope that I think the mask started to slip even with MAGA supporters. If you can't get through a 90-minute debate, how can you get through 4 years of being president?
Trump, are you still voting for Trump after last night's debate?
Hell freaking yes. If I could vote, cheat like the Democrats do 3 times, I would do that. I'm still voting for the felon, whatever you want to call them. That's what I'm voting for. Number one, Alyssa, MAGA voters are not changing their mind after this debate. We can admit that it was not Trump's best. You know, maybe it's one of his worst. We can admit that. But we also can admit, if you will admit, that nothing that Kamala Harris said or put forth, which she didn't, made sense. She rambled. She did not even answer the questions about the tariffs, about the immigration. She didn't answer the questions. She obfuscated. I can't even get the word out. I'm so freaking upset. She skirted the whole thing. And all she did, you know, she looked good on camera. Again, she came across poised with her little antics and, you know, her little baiting. Fine. In debate, you can expect people to bait someone. You can. I will admit that. Trump probably will admit that, maybe, that, you know, he wasn't at his best. But, Alyssa, our country is still on the line. The same country that you are praising and wanting to vote for Kamala for, just because she's a woman, just because she has a vagina and 2 breasts, does she still know who the woman is? No. I mean, you know, Ketanji Brown Jackson, maybe she knows now. But no, we're not changing our minds. I'm voting for the felon, just like Democrats like you to vote for felons. I'm going to vote for this one.
Yeah, T. I mean, have you changed your mind? Are you no longer wearing your MAGA hat?
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely wearing my felon. If I would known you'd have brought that up, I would put my felon hat on. I'm definitely still supporting and voting for President Trump. Where do they even get these numbers from? What conservatives did she poll or did she ask? Are you going to still vote for?
Well, she's a conservative. I mean, she's a so-called conservative.
No, I mean, like, who does she talk to say, oh, we even got conservatives flipping? And they had a nice little laugh, like, concepts of whatever. If I was him, I wouldn't have said anything either, because Kamala always takes away his ideas and his policies. So, of course, keep it to yourself, President Trump.
What about
if you win, then that's when we'll see it.
Yeah. What about you, Amber?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm not changing my mind. I live in California. I'm living through Democrat politics right now. I don't care how many times they lie, how many times try to make her look good, how many times they don't fact check her. Like, I'm living through the policies of Democrats right now, and it's not good. Like, nothing they say can make me change my mind. Right? Yeah.
And speaking of fact check, I just want to go through some of the things that Kamala hurled at President Trump that were just egregiously false. She said he left us the worst unemployment since the Great Depression. So unemployment set at 6.3% when President Biden and Harris took office in January 2021. That was less than a year after the onset of the pandemic. Government mandates force businesses around the country to close for extended periods of time, causing the economy to shed jobs. The Washington Examiner reports the unemployment rate hit double digits in the spring of 2020 and was falling significantly heading into 2021. Therefore, they had little to do with Trump's agenda. So, in fact, in the 3 years he was in office before the pandemic, Trump managed to bring the employment rate down to 3.5%, which is actually lower than the current rate is under Biden-Harris.
Right now.
Yeah.
Translation, you had more money in your damn pocket. Mm-hmm. That's it. You brought home more money. Things were cheaper. You were able to save a little bit more, maybe even splurge a little bit more. Mm-hmm. So your groceries were cheaper. Maybe your child could get a nicer birthday present or whatever. That's the translation, the bottom line. You had more money in your pocket. Everybody knows that, okay? The 1%, it doesn't matter. They always have extra. So it doesn't matter, if they didn't have extra, because they always do. Most of the people under the bottom half of that curve, if you will, had more money. There were more jobs, right? You could find a job. Now unemployment, there's too many people fighting for the same jobs. The resources are scarce. This is BS. Black people, you had more money. And it wasn't just because of the stimulus, like many black people like you to believe that, and it wasn't because Trump, he's not racist. You know that because you like Oprah and all these people who lauded him, Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton. You love these people. You love these race baiters, and they also loved Trump too. They still do. They just like to pretend they don't because they want to keep you, black people, under their daggone pocket, in their hip, to vote for them.
Yeah.
I remember not too long ago, they put out a jobs report, and they basically lied about 800,000 jobs.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah. And I know people in California who've been trying to find work, and it's been so hard. Nobody can. Everybody's been saying something's going on in the market, and then that report came out that they weren't even acknowledging that. And but they missed kind of by 25%.
Almost a million jobs.
Yeah,
a million jobs they overcounted.
Yeah,
exactly.
And then they tried to tie him to the Project 2025. I mean, she tried to Kamala Harris. I mean, she is doing everything she can. He has denied this. He has said that this is not part of his platform. It's not on his website. Heritage Foundation has debunked this as well. Those are the ones, the think tank that came up with it, and they are still trying to tie him to Project 2025.
They're going to keep doing it.
Not
abortion debate. So the moderators and Kamala Harris totally lied on this. Kamala said there's nowhere in America is a woman carrying a pregnancy to term and asking for an abortion. That was a bold-faced lie. We are here in Maryland. Maryland is one of the few states that do allow abortions with no restrictions up to 9 months. And this is according to the Kaiser Family Foundation. It's actually 7 states. So women can seek an abortion at any point in their pregnancies, theoretically, even late into their 3rd trimester, in at least 7 states. DC is one. Minnesota, where her VP is out of, is one.
Of course.
Michigan, Oregon, Alaska, New Mexico, Colorado, here in Maryland, and New Jersey. These places allow for abortion up to the 9th month. So the moderator fact-checked Trump on this as well. It was a lie. It was a lie.
And then did it with an attitude.
Yeah.
There's no state in the middle.
Yeah. That was, first of all, the moderators should not have interjected themselves into the debate. Even if, let's say Trump lied, which he didn't, or if Kamala lied, which she did, but it's not the role of moderators to interject themselves. That is why you have a debate between whomever is debating. Mm-hmm. They are supposed to check and correct each other and put out the points and challenge each other, not the moderators. This is why ABC, it was disgraceful. And if Trump does agree to a second debate, which I hope he does, I want him to do it right here with in our studio.
Yeah. What did you think about that, Amber, and the way that they tried to fact check him, say he was lying about the abortions? And Kamala Harris never even answered the question about whether or not she agreed with having no restrictions on abortion access.
Yeah, she didn't answer the question because she knows it's true. I just posted another video on my page today of a lady calling a clinic in I actually forgot where it was, but it's on my Instagram.
It's here in Maryland.
Oh, was it Maryland?
Yeah, that was Bethesda, Maryland. She was calling. Yeah, she said she was 34 weeks or something. Right.
Said, you can come in and you can still do it. But I just saw today that the moderator, the female Lindsay, I forgot her last name. She's an AKA, come on, that's her slogan.
And so is the president of ABC,
right?
The
best friend.
Yeah, that's her friend.
Yeah. It was certain. It was definitely. They were all part of.
It was 3 versus 1.
Yeah, 3 versus 1. It was certainly 3 versus 1. And I mean the lies go on, especially with the IVF. she was saying that that there were some states that were banning IVF or where IVF wasn't allowed. That's not correct. IVF is legal in all 50 states.
I think it was Alabama or Arkansas. They had a vote recently. They were trying to limit the number of embryos, and then the vote went, I guess, the wrong direction. So they banned it temporarily, and then I think it was reinstated. Yes, that's what she was talking about.
Right, but it wasn't even banned. In that state, they were saying that the way that they decided that case could have eventually said that IVF would not be allowed, but it was not banned in Alabama. And she continued to push this lie. I mean, this is ridiculous. And this is why, honestly, I don't think he should debate again. I don't. Yeah, I think that the media has gone so far left in protecting Kamala that there is not a balanced place Trump could go and have a balanced debate. The woman still has not answered press questions. She still actually hasn't had tough questions from the press. Why would he debate her? Yeah, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. I do have to acknowledge another super chatter here. Thank you so much. Kung Fu says again, Shelley is correct, and I couldn't say it any better. Get him, girl.
Thank you, Kung Fu.
Yes, about her saying she would still vote for Trump. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
We all would.
Yeah.
That's what they're lying on The View. I don't think if she talked to anyone, it was one person and maybe her cousin or something, because there are no conservatives that are changing their minds.
Yeah. I want to go back to the comments that Trump made about the Haitian illegals in Ohio. So when I rewatched the debate back, and just from someone who doesn't follow news, isn't like a political junkie like we are, when you look at him saying, they're eating cats, they're eating dogs, these Haitian illegals are doing this and doing that in Ohio, it does sound crazy. So unless you have actually seen this like we have seen the testimonies of people saying that this is occurring, for him to just shout that out on the debate stage, I can understand how some people who don't know about it were like, what? This guy has lost it. But this is actually taking place. And this is why it's such a catastrophe that the media is so in bed with Kamala Harris, because they're supposed to be doing investigative reporting on this.
Everyone is talking about the death of ducks and cats in this town, but I'd like to talk about the death of one very special person, my mother-in-law, Kathy Heaton. On December 1st, I received a phone call that changed my life forever. She was collecting her trash can from her driveway when a car struck and killed her instantly. A task she had done over 2,000 times, spanning 4 decades in Springfield. That morning, though, a Haitian immigrant was allegedly driving recklessly when he struck and killed her. I say allegedly because to this day, there's been no punishment, not even for the expired tags on the vehicle he was driving. Months before she was killed, I began noticing the reckless driving and complete disregard for our driving laws by some members of the Haitian community. It made me angry. But now my anger has turned to fear for the safety of my family and the citizens of Springfield. I'd been to Haiti 14 years ago. My husband and I went, and it was my first time in a third world country. I sobbed when I saw the poverty living there.
Wow. So she's talking about, and a lot of people have been talking about, the violence that they have been doing in this area in Ohio. And again, the eating of the domestic animals. Shelley, what are your thoughts?
I agree with you when he kind of just spurted that out on the debate. It did look crazy. It sounded crazy. And even if this is true or not, I'm not saying it is, because there are some reports that are saying it's not. But I think it's true that these people are eating animals and things like that. That's number one. I think Trump should not have brought that up. I think he should have focused on some of the crimes that the immigrants, whomever they are doing nationally. He should have maybe mentioned Lake and Raleigh, maybe this lady's mother-in-law, other people with real names and faces that the Americans are familiar with. I think that's where he dropped the ball in a sense. You're bringing up this, I'm going to call it sensationalism, right, about these Haitians and their voodoo and paganistic practices. Fine. If it's happening, it's happening. We can call it out and make it true. say it's true, whatever. But I think that was a lesser point than he should have focused on the actual people who have been killed, harmed, and maimed by illegal immigrants.
Yeah, and just kind of zeroing in on Ohio, I mean, we've seen, I think they said something like 20,000 Haitian illegal migrants have been pushed into Ohio within the past year or so. T, I mean, do you think Ohio, we know, is a red state? Do you think this is something that the Democrats are systemically trying to do, push these illegals in these different states to change the votes?
Why is this even a question? Because this is very strategic. And that's one thing about the Democrats. They are strategic, and we keep calling them out, and they don't care because they keep doing it in our faces. But definitely, I'm surprised they don't have in Iowa as well, right? Don't they? Isn't that a sanctuary city?
I'm not sure. Minnesota, they have a lot of immigrants there from Africa, Somalians, and Ethiopians, things like that.
Yeah. Oh, Colorado is what I'm thinking about. So yeah, they're definitely being strategic with this.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on this, Amber, about these stories and the way that Trump portrayed it and communicated it at yesterday's debate?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. They're being strategic with it, and I do agree. Agree with her. She said it should be focused more on policy, like because people are like struggling to, pay their bills and things like that too. But those same people who are struggling to pay their bills, like the Trump derangement syndrome is so bad for them. They're going to hear him talk about those dogs on TV, like, oh my gosh, she's so crazy. Like, what is she doing? You know what I'm saying? That's why I felt like he should have been more prepared for that question. But Democrats are definitely trying to change up the demographics for the votes for sure, especially now when they see all these black people like supporting Trump. Like people say it's not a lot, but I think like it's more than it was in 2020, and it's like progressing more and more. So they're trying to change the demographics before it gets too late for them, so they can stay in power.
Of course,
I definitely agree with that.
Yep.
Yeah, and another thing that I think could have been conveyed is we saw within the scamdemic during COVID and things like that. The bureaucrats, the elected officials were telling us, don't believe your lying eyes. They spewed so many lies during this pandemic about the vaccine, about the whole origin of this virus. And now here we are again, where you have everyday citizens talking about certain things happening. And once again, we have so-called city managers saying this isn't occurring. There's no there. And we do know reports are showing that the governor sent in the National Guard to Springfield, Ohio today. So, again, they're lying. And we don't even have an investigative news media to investigate and report on this phenomena. We don't even have that.